Good morning, champions. I hope you had a great night. Sorry for the delay. I was to start at around 10, but still, let's get into the market and let us see what the market are going to show us today. So today, I'm going to kickstart my analysis with Euro USD. So this is a general view, as you can see, but this is from the hourly time frame. This is the view of the chart from the hourly time frame. You can see that still the market has moved to the upside, so it broke. So as you can see, we had a small consolidation at this point, but when the market reached this position and touched the trend line below it, it moved to the upside at this position. Still, I was expecting a consolidation at this point because this was a point of resistance, but still the market had a breakout to the upside, and later on it moved to the downside for a retest. And as you can see, we are having some small consolidation at this point, but hopefully the market are going to break out and they are going to move to the upside. My hope for this pair is for the market to rise up to at least this position, so around that position, to touch the trend line above this. Let me just label it. Let me just call it this is the point that I'm looking forward for the market to reach. So let me just name it point A. So this is the point A. So currently the market is at that position. So after touching this trend line, it moved to the upside. Hopefully it is going to move to point A. So you still have got an opportunity to buy at this point or at this time for you to make a small profit. So that is a short position, but I would also like us to discuss on a higher time frame what's the general movement of the charts. So let me just zoom in so that you can move to a higher time frame. So I'd like us to view it from a daily time frame, see what the market are going to show us from a daily time frame. So remember that we usually place our trades on an hourly time frame so that you can be able to capitalize on the small moves that the market always make. And remember that before you take any trade, make sure that you have got your stop losses and take profit in place to avoid taking unnecessary losses from the market. So this is the view of the market from a daily time frame. If I can move to the weekly time frame so that you can explain further how the markets are moving. As you can see, in the previous weeks or months, we have been having this movement of the graph. So after the graph touched this position, this trend line, it started moving with some lower highs and some lower lows. So as you can see, it went down to this position, almost touching the trend line below it, moved to the upside, down again to the upside, down, but this one was a little bit shallow, then moved to the upside, and then it moved down, touching the trend line below it. And then we had this some form of consolidation. If I may move this so that you can be able to see what I'm talking about. So we are having some sort of consolidation at this point. The markets are playing within they are playing within these two regions. So currently this is how the markets are playing out. So as if I can zoom in, you'll be able to see that the market, after touching this position, tried to move to the upside. So it kind of formed some triangles. If I can show you the triangles that the markets were showing. So this is a double triangle that the market were making at this point. And then the market, after touching again, we had a triple touch to this point of support here, and then they moved into the upside. After touching this position, it moved to the downside. So this, in the first place, it acted as a point of support as the market was moving to the upside, but on reaching the point of resistance, it moved to the downside. Had some small resistance at this place, but still it moved further down to the downside. And after touching this point of support again, it moved to the upside, broke this point of support, the previous, I mean, a point of resistance that became a point of support, and the market moved, had a retest of almost to this point of support, but still it moved to the upside. After touching this point of resistance, the market moved down. So if I can zoom in to see where we are currently from the weekly time frame. So after the market tagged this position, as you can see, they started moving to the downside, playing between these two trend lines. So currently we are expecting the market to touch this trend line. This is the trend line that I was talking about. This is trend line at point A. This is point A. So after touching that position, we are expecting to capitalize on the market as it will be moving to the downside from this position to this point of support, and we will be expecting it to break this point of support to move to a lower point of support at this position, and then we'll see. But currently we'll just play between this region of consolidation, and then in the future we'll be expecting a breakout, whether to the upside or to the downside. Still, I'm expecting that we are going to make some profits on it. So that's a general view of how the markets are playing out on Euro USD. So currently I've got no trade running on Euro USD, but I can surely spot a beautiful position. This is an hourly time frame now, so I can spot a beautiful position for the market to move from this side, to move either directly to this point, or for the market to, let me just use this, for the market to have this kind of movement, for them to go up to this point, move down, further down, touching the trend line below it, and then for it to get into the target and later move to the downside. So that is what I'm expecting the market to behave, and that is it for Euro USD. So the other pair that I would like to discuss is AUD USD. So let me just zoom out so that you can be able to see the general movement of the charts. So let me just remove it. So on AUD USD, so that is the view of the market from an hourly time frame. You can see that the markets were playing between these two trend lines. Remember, still we were having, if I can move to a higher time frame, you can see that the market is on a downtrend. but still having a kind of a small uptrend within that downtrend. So the markets were playing between these two trend lines that were moving to the downside. But at this point, the markets made changes, made this region to behave as a point of support. After touching this trend line below it, they moved to the upside, had a small move to the outside, to the downside, making some triangles. Still, as you can see, you've got head here, and then you've got double shoulders here. Then they moved to the downside again, touched the trend line below it, moved to the upside. Now at this position, you can remember we had some capitalization at this position. So let me zoom in so that you can be able to see. So when we had this breakout to the upside at this position, our target was at this point. So let me show you what was our target. So after the market broke out at this position, so we had plans on capitalizing on the market to this point of resistance, and as you can see that our plan worked so well. So that was our plan earlier on. So after reaching this point of resistance, you can see that we had some small consolidation. Hopefully the market are about to make a correction so that they can move back to this trend line. Currently I'm just seeing how they are going to play out on their buy. So let me minimize this. So currently after this consolidation, I'm still expecting the markets to, let me bring this closer. So after this consolidation at this region here, I'm expecting the market to make a correction. A correction simply means that the market are going to make a breakout at this position for them to get back into these two trend lines, that is this trend line and also the trend line below it at this position. And after the market makes that correction, I'm looking forward on capitalizing on it from the current position. When on reaching this position, I'm looking forward on capitalizing on it to this position at this place. So let me zoom, let me move to a higher time frame so that you can see the general movement of the graph, the charts. So this is the view of the chart from a daily time frame. So if I can zoom out for you to see, you can see that the markets were having an uptrend, a very nice uptrend. That was months before. So this was the general movement of the charts months before. And then on touching this point on the trend line above at this point, the market started moving to the downside. And that is why I'm hoping for the correction that I've explained to you earlier on. So if that correction happens, we are looking forward for the market to start moving to the downside within these two trend lines. So from the daily time frame, my expectation is for the markets to move from, after breaking this point of support, I'm expecting the market, this is a long trade, it is a long position. I'm looking forward for the market to go down to that position and then for them to move further down to the downside. Let me show you another long position that I will be expecting in the future. Also, I'm expecting the markets to move further down to that position. So let me move to a weekly time frame. So I think now you can see generally from the weekly time frame what I was talking about. So from the weekly time frame, you can see that the markets are moving on a downtrend, making higher highs, making lower highs and lower lows as they are moving to the downside, making some point of resistance, point of support. As you can see, this is a point of support. That's why it is a very significant position at this point. So the markets, I'll be expecting the market to move from the current position that they are in for them to, we are going to expect some small consolidation at this point, mainly because it is a point of support. As you have seen, it had double touch at this position, so I'm expecting it to have some small consolidation at this point for them to move further down. Remember, the general movement of the charts from a weekly time frame is a downtrend, so that is what I'm expecting the markets to behave. So let me move from now, after we have seen the general movement of the graph from the weekly time frame. Let us just go back to the hourly time frame. And from the hourly time frame, I've just explained to you what I'm expecting, what are my plans. The other chart that I wanted us to analyze is NAS 100. If I can spot it where it is, NAS 100, yeah, NAS 100, also known as NASDAQ. So NASDAQ generally, the US companies recently addicted to the COVID. You have been witnessing some downward movement. The charts are trying to move to the upside, but still they are only touching the point of resistance at this upper level, and then making some downward movement. But generally, I'm expecting the charts to move down because most of the businesses, hopefully, most of the businesses in US may not be thriving as before, because as you can witness from years before, the NAS 100 has been moving to the upside with high volatility. The markets were moving with a lot of volatile, and that is basically because of how the businesses have been thriving. But for the last 2 years, since we have had the pandemic, I think it has affected also the charts. So still, as you can see, I'm holding some trades on NAS 100. Uh, I respect the strategy that I use. So as long as my stop loss has not been touched or hit, I'll still hold the trades. Because currently I'm expecting the market to move from this position to this point of support that have been acting as a point of resistance from the previous movement of the graph. If I can zoom out for you to be able to see what I'm basically talking about. So as you can see, this point, we had a touch at this position. The market moved to the downside at this point of support. They later on tried their best to reach this position, had some small of support. You can see this is a first touch, second touch, third touch for the market to move to the upside at this position. Still within, we had some small consolidation. You can see at this region we had this consolidation, but still it broke out to the upside. I had some small consolidation at this point, but still the market moved to the upside, and we had a move to the downside. Had a confirmation that the market were moving to the downside. Broke this point of resistance here, confirming to me that they were truly moving to the downside. But then they decided to go for a retest to a higher position. But still, I'm still hopeful that the markets are still going to move to the downside. So I'm hoping the market are going to correct themselves to that position for them to move further to the downside at that position. That will be my second target. And then my third target, which is going to be a long one, I'm expecting the market to move from that position to a more lower position. Hopefully, I hope the markets are going to move according to my expectation. Fingers crossed, and let us hope for the best. So that is my view. That is all that I had for today. So have a blessed day ahead of you, and may the peeps be with you. Have a blessed day. Thank you.